Today we take on a very awesome Lego Icons build. I've been waiting all year to get into this, so now let's get into it. Hello and welcome to a new episode of Bricks and Toys. My name is Brandon, and today we are building, let me look, this set right here. This is the Lego Icons Corvette. Set number 10321, coming in at 1,210 pieces. I honestly think that it's incredible. We already got the Land Rover Defender in March of this year, and when that one came out, I thought it was going to be this one because I just heard through the rumor mills that they were doing a Corvette, but it wasn't. It was the Defender, which was an incredible build all on its own. But then all of a sudden, in July, they let the cat out of the bag, and here we go. Now, let's talk about Corvettes for a minute. The Corvette is an American icon of a car. When it comes to shooting certain scenes of movies and TV shows, and they try to capture Americana, there's no better car than the Corvette. Currently, there are 8 versions of the Corvette spanning from 53 to 62, from 63 all the way down into the early 70s, from the early 70s down to the early 80s, and then from the early 80s to about 97, and then from 98 to 2004, from 2005 to around 2013, and then from 2013-ish all the way down to 2020, and then today with the C8. Every generation that I just listed there, they're all generations that start with the letter C. C1, C2, C3, C4. My favorite, the C5, C6, C7, and C8. Now, we all have our favorite generation of Corvette if we like Corvettes. And for me, like I said, the C5 is my dream Corvette. It is the perfect blend of 90s and 2000s General Motors, and when I look at that car, I think that's the last Corvette to actually encapsulate what it means to have a Corvette. Now we currently have the C8. They just dropped the Z06 version of it. That thing has a flat plane crank mid-engine V8, and it sounds like a American Ferrari. To me, that is just ridiculous. You don't buy a Corvette to sound Italian. You buy a Corvette to be a belligerent American like myself. So, when it comes to Corvettes, I'll save my $150,000 and go pick up a $15,000 to $25,000 C5 Corvette, maybe a Z06, and have about 400 horsepower under the hood and have a blast of a time. But for today's build, we are actually building, from what I can tell from the build, a 61 C1 Corvette. Now, how do I know that it's a 61? Well, I could tell you how I know. The 53 through the 59, the rear of the car, the taillights were molded into the rear quarters, and the rear quarters was much more rounded and swooping. Now, mind you, they did change the headlight style 3 times between 53 and 60, but the whole thing I'm talking about is the butt of the car, and the butt is what gives this one away, because you could look at this model from the front and not know if it's a 58, 59, 60, or 61 that they were going after. But in 60 and 61, they went to a more sloped, they call it boat tail, rear end featuring 2 taillights on the back, which every iteration of Corvette since 61 has actually had. Now, a really fun fact that I wanted to say, the 61 Corvette, which we are building today, originally came with about 245 to 260 horsepower, somewhere within that range. And if you were to buy a brand new Z06 with a flat plane crank V8 today, that car would have double the horsepower than what the original C1 had. So I thought that was pretty cool. So enough talking about the Corvette. Like I said, Corvettes are extremely incredible. They are just icon of America. But now we really got to just focus in on this build. And like per usual, we are going to grade the build. So let's go ahead and let's turn to our board. We have to use the color red. Like Prince once would sing about, the little red Corvette. We have the red Corvette, and we got to write this one in red, guys. So we're going to put up here on the board, Corvette. Done deal. So as per usual, we need to rate the box design. And I already have a gripe right off the top, because when it comes to the C1 Corvette, like I said, throughout the first 7-8 years that they produced the car, they did change the car. They changed the headlights, and then later on, towards the end, the taillights and the back styling. They changed it. I would like to have seen on the box that this is a 61 Corvette, to which I didn't get that pleasure. So that's the first thing I'm going to dock. It's not year specific. Like with the Camaro, I would like to know if I'm building a 69 Camaro without having to know about my cars. When Lego's doing these, they're really not trying to focus in on a person that knows the car. They're just trying to sell the car for whoever. But for me, being a car guy, I know my cars, and I know that this is a 61-ish year range. It being built out of brick, it's kind of hard to exactly pinpoint, but with that boat tail, it's pretty obvious. So the fact that they didn't put a year on the box is kind of like, what the hell, bro? But other than that, the car does look fabulous on the box. It does say icons. It does show the features, the opening trunk. Mind you, fun fact, with the Corvette, the first Corvette was the only model to have a trunk all the way up until the C5, C6, and C7, and C8. So the C2, 3, and 4 did not have an opening trunk. Fun fact there. But you can see all the wonderful features lined up into the real car. Overall, super simple box design. Side profile of the box shows the build. So overall, not bad. But I am going to dock it because I would like somewhere in the marketing to at least say 61 Vet. I'm anal retentive. Can't help it. So for the box design, I am going to rip it and give it a 7. Now let's move on to packaging. Now I predict there to be 12 bags in this build. So let's see if I am correctamundo on that. It's only about 1,200 pieces. A lot of people said that this set is relatively expensive piece to price count, but honestly, they do have to pay that GM licensing fee on this. Everything poured out pretty simple. Let's take a look at our book, and let's see. We should have a small sticker sheet with this build, to which we do. We have, it looks like some gas cap covers, looks like some stuff for the interior, some exterior thing, and valve cover decorations, and looks like 12 stickers total. So that's pretty on point. And then we're taking a look at the book. It's got some information about the Corvette, as per usual. So we are looking at 9 bags. The first 5 bags builds the bottom and the back half of the car. And then the next 4 bags builds the front half and the roof. And man, just the artist illustrations of this thing being built is incredible. I really just love a red Corvette. I mean, like I said, Prince made a whole song about it. So overall, the pieces look pretty straightforward. Oh, look at this. We have some of that paper packaging that Lego said that they were going to make, but yet they haven't done it. Well, a year after I started seeing the advertisements for it, like in the Camaro build that came out a year ago, we're finally getting it. So that's cool. Paper packaging. Lego is going paper, everybody. If you don't know, look it up. New minifigs, Pavwall, the pick a minifig, everything is all going to paper. It's crazy, but I think that's better for everybody and the environment. So we finally get that weird paper packaging that looks like oatmeal packets. And we get that with a mix of the normal plastic packaging. But 9 bags, overall it's not an intimidating build by any standard. This should be a good afternoon to knock it out. So I'm going to give the packaging a overall 10. Because they finally worked in those paper bags. Anything for the environment, we'll give it a good grade because we got to take care of our Earth. Other than that, we do need to drive gas guzzling, awesome American classic cars. So by saving the plastic, maybe we can burn more fuel. But for right now, we need to burn rubber over to my building station, hit that time lapse, and let's get this sucker built and be back at my workstation for the review, and we can wrap this thing up. So let's peel off and get it done. So now it's time for the review segment of the video. And there is some really cool things to talk about with this set. I do have the vehicle with the roof on, and we'll start just with it in that configuration. Let you get a good look here at the front end. And then we'll start going into all the critiques in a second. Overall, really nice styling. I think everything came out really well on this build. So that is it from all 4 corners. And one of the first things I wanted to pop out is there is 3 plate choices. There is the Corvette plate in the back. There is this GM 0937 plate. And there is a C1 1961 plate. I was correct. This is a 1961. One of the first things that you're going to notice with this car is you can't get the trunk open, but the designers, they did think about that. There is a button back here that allows you to open the trunk, and it pushes it up. Now, one of the weird things is the mechanism for the trunk to close it. It closes down really weird. If you guys can see that, I'm pretty sure you can. Yeah, that don't make no sense, bro. So you kind of got to use your brain on a swivel. And before I close this, I'm going to throw these plates in the trunk, because that's where you're supposed to store them. And you're supposed to kind of like push it back and close it. So that's just a whole extra step. So, you know, it is what it is. Next thing I want to point out, they did use a sword element for the antenna of the vehicle. Now, one thing I would have liked to have seen with this vehicle is some type of center cap on top of these wheels to kind of make them kind of look like the original hubcaps, but I guess this is as close as you're going to get with using one part. So there is that. Now on the side here, there is one thing I did want to mention. Besides the windows, we have two new elements. One of them is being this piece that makes up this arch right here, and then this piece right here of the white. These both are two new elements. So I did want to point that out. And as we're talking about elements, I did want to say one thing that is really cool about this set is it does have a really healthy sticker to printed part ratio. Pieces like this are sticker, pieces on the trunk are sticker, but pieces like on the front here are printed, as well as the Corvette is printed on the front. Now let's go ahead and let's pop off the roof, which comes off just like that. And this gives you a look at the Corvette's interior. And overall, it's just a black interior with some gray accents. When you look in there, you can see that we are working with about a 4-speed manual gearbox, and they did put the 3 clutch pedals inside to resemble that this does have a working clutch. So 3 pedals to represent that working clutch. Now the hood does open up, and it's kind of easy. You just grab it, and there we go. And then looking in, you can see that V8 engine just sitting in there. All 245 to 260 horsepower. So pretty reasonable details. And another new piece I did want to point out is these headlight elements are also new. It's kind of like a stud with the edge spread out a little bit on them. And one of my final gripes with this is I would have liked to at least seen the Tijuana chrome, which is like the silver, or some type of coloring. One of the great things about a 50s Corvette is the amount of chrome, but on this model, everything is muted with this light bluish gray color that Lego has. And there's nothing wrong with it. It just looks really muted. But it would be nice to get like what is on the antenna, or like what they used on the DeLorean or the 007 car, to kind of give it that 1950s look with all that chrome. But overall, coming back to the back, it does look really nice, and I am very happy to finally have the rumored Corvette in the collection. So now, let's go and wrap up this video, everybody. So now it's time to do the wrap up on this vehicle. And one of the last things that I wanted to mention, and I forgot to do it in the prior segment, is talk about the bottom of the vehicle. And one of the things I did want to note is the way that they changed how the steering is linked. It is done with a very simple design, and the back wheels are just on a solid axle, which I find really cool because it does mimic the original car. But look at all these plates. They really plated off the bottom of the car, which is not something that they normally do. And once again, I did want to talk about the roof a little bit. I just don't care for the roof. It makes the whole thing just go downhill. And honestly, I think a few extra tiling pieces would have done well for the top here. But even so, it does not fit well. I mean, this is worse than the aftermarket toupee you would have to put on a first-gen Dodge Viper. And those look terrible. If you know your cars, you know what I'm talking about. So, that's my final gripes with the vehicle. But regardless, I'm going to display it with the roof off, get the interior all dusty and messy, and just really let it shine. Because it is stunning without that roof. So let's go ahead and let's hop into our board. And let's just start knocking these things off one by one. Build quality. I think it's built really well. Now, where I'm going to dock this at is, for one, there's no extra pieces in the doors. The doors could literally open up and go all the way to the side. I don't like that. That Lego has shown that there's a way to design around that. The second thing is I don't like the way the roof's built. It could use extra tiling. And I don't like the way that the trunk and the hood closes. To think that you have to put an extra step from an up and down motion makes no sense. There had to be a better way to get those movements done. But there is a lot of printed pieces, and there is new pieces in the set. We're going to talk about that more when we get the price. But overall, it's okay. But I do want to note that I am docking it for those few things, and I am going to give the build quality about a 7. Because it's just a little bit too much on the what the hell was going on there side. Part usage, there is some new parts. It is a Technic-based frame like with all the cars. The wheels are pretty much nothing special compared to the Ecto 1 that came out 2 years ago, using the same center style of the wheels. We did get new rear window glass, and overall they kind of just, they didn't really put much thought into putting silver elements to at least simulate the chrome on the car. Like I said, it's a 50s car. It's all about the chrome, and they really just dulled it out doing just pure silver. So overall, part usage, I'm going to give it about another 7. Playability, hood opens, trunk opens, it has a removable roof, it has 4 rolling wheels, it has working steering, it has all of the functions that you would expect on a car of Lego. And for that reason, I am going to say it is extremely playable. They even put the little lever in the under the car to help you open the trunk, make it easier. So it is pretty playable, so I'm going to give it a 9. Ease of display, it is definitely a display piece like all Creator Expert or Icon vehicles. So I am going to give it a 10 because it is super displayable. Minifigs, there are none, so that's clearly going to be a 0 on that. Availability, I think I just saw on the website that this car is sold out, but I did see it earlier today at my Lego store, so I am going to give it a 8 for the uncertainty factor. Now, price. So the car is $150, and it does break down to about 12.7 cents per piece, and that is a pretty high average. Last year's Camaro was an 11.4 cents per piece average, but a lot of people say this set is expensive because of that average, but I will say you are getting new window elements. You are getting 2 different curved elements to make the doors. You are also getting new headlight lens elements on this set. And I think there's some other little things that are brand new just to make this set happen. So you are getting a lot of new pieces. So when you look at it like that and you take that into consideration that Lego went and made new pieces to accomplish this set, you have to give it some respect, and that's what I'm going to do. And I think $150 is a damn good price for this car. Yeah, it's not the higher piece count that we're used to, like with the Camaro or the Porsche or any other Creator Expert car, but they gave us so many new pieces. You have to think, like, what does this mean on a production line? And I think the sausage and banana elements to make the accents of this vehicle, I think they actually had the special make them in this light gray color. I'm not sure, so don't hold me to it, but if they even went to that length, the price is pretty fair. So I'm going to give the price a 9. And fun aspect. Is the set fun? I think it's incredibly fun. I mean, what is more fun than a classic American Corvette? I mean, this thing is an icon to our pop culture here. So, I mean, it's incredibly fun. So that's going to be a straight 10. So now let's add up all of these scores and let's see what we have for this set. So this set scores a cool 77. that is a super accurate representation of the set. The things that could have made it a little bit higher is a little bit better thought out build quality when working the hinge mechanisms. That could have got us up to an 80. The availability, knowing that it's in stock, would have got us to an 82. And maybe $10 off the price would have gotten us to an 84. And overall, there's not much more to it. You know, if they would have put 61 on the box, that would have got us up another 3 points to about an 85. So it depends on how you want to look at the coin. 77 to 85, it does match. When I first saw this set and I saw the picture online, I was like, well, there's the Corvette that's rumored. And I was like, it is stunning in red, but something's a little off. But regardless, I really want the set. I really want to add it to all of my Creator Expert Icon vehicles. So let's go ahead and let's do it and let's build it. And now that it's here and I can see everything, I could tell you what made me feel like it's literally a 77. And that is the lack of chrome. The light gray elements, like I know I keep saying it, but it really is kind of like a, I mean, we know 50s cars. I was raised 50s cars, building them with my dad, so I know chrome is a huge thing about the 50s. If you can do that Tijuana type chrome on the DB7, they could have definitely went the extra length on this. And hell, I would have paid a 13.7 cents per piece average if that's what they did, because the 50s needs its chrome. So that wraps it up for the brand new Lego Icons Corvette. I'm super happy. I hope that if you guys already have this set is making you happy as well. And if you haven't built it yet, I gotta say, get to building it. This was a 3-hour build, and it was a pure, fun, great build. Super happy. But before I let you guys go, I did want to touch up from Wednesday's video. And I did want to say, I did return to the Lego store, because as I'm filming this, it's the day after, and I am off today. So I did return to the Lego store, and I did pick up some of the missing things. When I made my wife's list of things to remember, I forgot to add this. It is the Icons Tranquil Garden. Set number 10315, coming in at 1,363 pieces. She loves these botanical type sets. The trees are modular where you can switch them around in this set. And I think she'll really have a blast. Plus they have koi fish printed tiles on this set. So I forgot to put this on her list. Thus she didn't think about looking for it when she was shopping for us. I also picked up 2 more of the 40574 Lego brand stores. I now have 3 of these, and I have a modular and I have a rebrickable modular building set of instructions already purchased to make a modular building out of these. Kind of like with the Noodle Shop and the Cozy House and the Surf House. And then I found out about a set that I slept on from June this year. It is the set number 76260, Black Widow and Captain America motorcycles. I got this especially for the minifigs. I've been really wanting a good Captain America minifig. And this way we get Black Widow as well. And a fun fact is I looked up the resale on the minifigs of this set. They're the cost of the set if you buy them separately. So this is a cool one to have. In the mail today, we also received the Funko Pop Wally. This is the Face It faucet. We have so far all of the Disney 100 faucets that they have made. And then the final set we picked up today is the one that was missed on yesterday's video, well, Wednesday's video for you guys. And that's the Lamborghini Huracan Technica. This is set number 42161. It's one of those cool $50 sets, and I heard someone that they may have put suspension on this. And that's a relatively a new thing with $50 Technic sets. I don't think I have any $50 Technic sets besides the Jeep that has suspension. So those are going to be builds either on a small set showcase or in a video all of their own. time will tell. We have very few slots of filming, and it is what it is. So that wraps it up for this video. Drop comments down below what you think of the build today. Let me know if you like the build or if you're going to go out and get it. You know, just share your thoughts in general. And also, if you want, share your thoughts about the Lego sets I picked up today to finish out the August store haul. And if you liked the video, please like, share, and subscribe. And as usual, everybody, I appreciate you all, and thank you for watching.